Well, making a software application is a team effort, and you can't do it without the support of the clients, and they clearly can't do it themselves. That's why they come to us. So establishing a relationship based on trust is super important, because it's the best way to work together to a common goal. And the common goal is we want to make an awesome piece of software that solves the specific problem that the customer has. So I personally prefer to have a familiar, how would we say in German, per du, first name basis relationship with people, and keep it friendly and informal, because I think for me that's kind of helpful, and it leads to a more open relationship with people. But we need to work together to achieve the common goal. If, for example, the information a client gives me about their data set and I'm not able to actually see their data set, I need to trust that what they're telling me is 100% accurate, or the code that I write may not work in the way that they hope it does. So this is a problem that can best be overcome by having someone on the client side who understands the data model, and it helps if they're a little bit technical. Because we are an independent company that makes software for other people, they may not want us to see their actual data set. We may not be legally allowed to see their actual data set. So we need to trust that what's there in their data set looks and is a certain way, because if it's not, then it can lead to unexpected results, which is then problematic, and it leads to our software not performing as well as we think it should, as our client thinks it should. So there needs to be this kind of trust and understanding between the client and us, so that we can work together to the common goal. I think it's good when a client trusts us to find a solution to their problem. So if they explain what their problem is and allow us to perhaps discuss that with them and provide a number of possible solutions, then that usually leads to the quickest and best outcome for the client. How long is a piece of string? I was involved in a project earlier this year where we made an application for an organisation, and we did it in a few months. I think 3 or 4 months we had it delivered, and they then began testing it. But it's not a case that a client tells us, can you make this? We then make it and deliver it, and that's job done. It's an ongoing process, and it should ideally have weekly meetings so that everybody knows what's happened so far, where we are in the process. So it may be that a straightforward, relatively simple application can be done in a fairly short amount of time, but there are some that will take a very long amount of time. And often what happens is a piece of software is delivered to the client, at which point they decide, well, actually, maybe we'd like this, 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 and this as well. And then it runs and runs and runs, and we just keep adding features as time goes on. At the start of a project, we usually workshop with the clients to really make sure we know what it is precisely that they want. And we then make an offer based on that. We make an offer that says, we will do this, 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 and this. It will take this much time, and the time costs X amount of money. What will cause things to go over budget is when the client says, well, actually, we think maybe we could change this, or maybe we now want this. So initially, there's an estimation of time given, and if what we've estimated on changes, then that of course will lead to costs escalating. So this is why that first stage of client contact, where we understand their requirements and we work together to really plan what it is we're going to do to their satisfaction, and then make an estimation of cost or time based on that. If we stick to that plan, then it should never go over budget. It is often the case that the client has a change request, or perhaps some new feature is required, and this is absolutely okay. We will then take this new request, we'll discuss it with the client exactly what it is that they need, and then we can make an estimate. It will take this much time, and then they know, okay, we're going to pay this much to get this new feature in our application. We then implement it and deliver it in the time we've said that we will take to do it. I was a bass guitar player and I had some nerve problems in my hands, and basically my doctor told me that I had to stop. So in my previous life I would play concerts, do recording sessions, I taught people, I did some social media things, I toured, I wrote like musical books and things like that. And I couldn't do that anymore. And so I was sent to career rehab, and it was a 2-year retraining program where I learned software development, and I came here as an intern for like a 3-month internship, and halfway through I was asked if I'd like to stay and have a job and be here happily ever after, and here I am. It's not that there's something I dislike about this job, but sometimes you can spend all day feeling like you just crawled out of a swamp for like a 5-second moment of like feeling like Albert Einstein, like you're a genius. And that can be frustrating sometimes. Like if you're looking to solve a particular problem or find where a bug is coming from or something like that, that can sometimes be frustrating. But actually then finding the solution and solving it is very, very rewarding and a good feeling. So it's not that that's a bad thing about the job, it's just something to keep in mind that sometimes it's frustrating, but the frustration is usually followed by the great joy of a problem solved. I think the best projects are the ones where you work with the best people, both like your colleagues, but also on the client side. So nobody wants to work with people that they don't like, and it's nice to have a friendly relationship with your colleagues, but also it's nice to have a good relationship with the client, and it's actually really helpful for the whole process. So the best projects, I can't think of a specific one, but the ones that are most enjoyable, it's about the people at the end of the day. I mean, programmers are people, right? Some percentage of them will be introverted, some percentage of them will be extroverted. I guess I imagined that programmers would be sitting in a dark basement with a giant bag of Cheetos and 6 monitors looking at ones and zeros float up the screen, but actually what surprised me is the teamwork of it and the interaction of it. So yeah, some people are introverts, some people are not introverts, but I don't think it has any particular bearing on them as humans or software developers or anything else. Software development is not for everybody, and I know people personally that would be quite frightened by the prospects of doing this for a job. But it's a great job that I really enjoy. It's always interesting, it's always challenging in kind of a fun way, and the teamwork aspects of it I like very much as well. So if you feel like you would enjoy solving problems, then yeah, maybe give it a try.